And good evening. Here we are for the Worldview Financial Report, Friday, November 15th, 2024. November 15th, 2024. Let's talk about these topics tonight. Let's see here. Fed Chair Powell warns bumpy path ahead for inflation. No hurry to lower rates. Peter Schiff says the Fed's trying to save itself at your expense. How Trump's proposed tariffs could affect the cost of jeans, appliances, and everyday items. And Doug Casey on Trump's second term, what it means for American investors. Inflation worries come back to haunt bond strategists after Trump victory, according to poll. Household debt, delinquencies, collections, foreclosures, bankruptcies are drunken sailors and their debt in the third quarter of 2024. And that's an ad. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So many ads on these pages. Consumers, aren't you guys glad we don't do that? Consumers are drowning in debt as hordes of businesses fail all over the U.S. U.S. deficit explodes. Blowout October deficit means second worst start to U.S. fiscal year on record. EM assets hit by negative micro backdrop amid Trump's expected tariff flurry, sparking strong dollar. That's the same article. And UBS reveals when to buy gold dips as markets signal unseen risks. There you go. All right, welcome. The Bad News Bears are here, as is Dolly. Let's go to a wide shot of Dolly. Guys, she's here on her MyPillow pet bed, by the way. If you want to get your pet a MyPillow pet bed, there she is in the dark down there. Get your pet a MyPillow pet bed. These make great Christmas gifts, by the way. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code B66. Promo code B66 gets you savings and helps support the network. So this is great for, you can buy one for your pet. You can buy one for your husband's yellow lab or chocolate lab or black lab, or you could buy one, guys, for your wife's dog. That would make your wife happy. Buy it for a friend's pet. These make great gifts. People love getting these things. But there's also sheets, blankets, towels, pet beds, slippers, sandals, mattresses, mattress toppers, robes, and more. I haven't said all that in a while, and I still got it, right, Logan? MyPillow.com, use the promo code B66. Promo code B66, folks. There's a lot of sales over there for Christmas, so do that. There you go. So Dolly is here. All is right with the world. Wes and Michael are here. Apparently somebody sent an email last night complaining about Dolly. I told him to go watch another network. I said, tell him to go watch another network. You know, if you don't like my dog, then don't watch the network. Apparently they didn't like my suit either. Can you believe there are so many rude people out there? I said, fine. I told the staff, tell them to go watch another network. We're done. But you know, if you don't like my suit or my dog, go find another network. Right, Michael?
I'm not even going to comment in the middle.
Touching that.
Stay along.
Yeah.
It's a client of
We
the
want
company.
everybody.
No, it was not. I had them check the email. The person had never donated, given, bought. It's always, see, here's a little secret everybody ought to know. When people send in complaints, we put them through our database. And 99.9% complainers, they've never donated, they've never bought anything, they have nothing, they're just complainers. So we just say, go back to your basement and find another network.
Yep.
So there you go. Wes,
Yeah.
UBS reveals when to buy gold dips as markets signal unseen risks.
Yes, good old UBS, who are typically Wall Street stock and mutual fund cheerleaders. They are nowadays on the gold bandwagon. U.S., of course, their recommendation is a bit light. They recommend 5% allocation to gold in balanced portfolios, citing its importance as a hedge against mid-market volatility and policy uncertainty under the new U.S. administration. UBS highlights that a weakening U.S. dollar and lower Treasury yields could support gold prices, forecasting a target price of $2,900 an ounce within the next 12 months. The report emphasizes that ongoing risks such as potential fiscal deficits, tariffs, and central bank diversification away from the U.S. dollar, we've talked about BRICS many times, de-dollarizing and growing, make gold an essential portfolio hedge. UBS suggests buying gold on dips around 2,600, which right now we're at 2563.60. So it is on sale.
There you go. Gold is on sale. So,
are those lights messing up my shot back there?
Yes, they are. They make you look like you have a halo, but that's all right.
We'll fix that next time.
What about the idea of gold? How do you guys think gold is going to do in a second Trump administration?
First of all, let me deal with UBS since I've been doing business with them since before 1978. They're sellouts. They're actually spies for the U.S. bank. That's a fact. You can smile, Brannon, but they're a fact. Check into UBS and their relationship and investigation with the U.S. banking system. They'll sell you out. I've had clients have had.
I don't know anything about it. I'm just smiling because you're
They-
just in a great mood.
They are horrible. They are not somebody to be trusted with gold. Their last prediction on gold was it was going to go to 2,100. Hello, I predicted 2,800. I was right. They were wrong. If I want information on gold, the last place I go is UBS. There's some other people in Switzerland that are much better, not them. But at the end of at reality being, I would be looking at gold next year. So still stick to 3,800. I think they're literally way after the mark when it comes to what's happening in gold and the BRICS and all the stuff with the U.S. dollar. That's all been going on 6 months ago. Where were you? The situation on gold right now and what we look into the future is there's an initial situation that we discussed last night, Brannon, of people who are thinking, oh my God, it's the end of the gold market. Everything's wonderful and everything's going to be great. And we don't need gold anymore because everything's just perfect. First of all, everything is not just perfect. We're heading, thank goodness, into the right direction. And I think we have a chance to really turn America in the right way. But Donald Trump, the last time he was in office, had a little bit of a dip initially, which we saw now of about 10%. And then after that, it went up over 40%. And then when we got to COVID, it went up another 43%, so over an 83% gain. He is an asset-based guy. So when you're structuring your portfolios for the future, this isn't a period of time, Brannon, to dump the gold market and get out of it. This is a time to, as Wes was just saying, buy on the dip, take advantage of it, and continue on your asset preservation program. Because that's what the government's doing. Right now, the government's doing a review for asset preservation. They are legitimately trying to cut corners, and they're getting the resistance of people like UBS who are sellouts, and trying to sit back and tell them exactly that they can't be done. Like one guy just said, you can't cut the budget, you can't find $2 trillion worth of garbage because the only way you could do it is take it from Social Security and Medicare, which scares all the retirees, which is exactly what they want to do. But I got news for them. They weren't the ones that talked about spending $500,000 on an investigation for what, dogs or insects in Russia? I mean, it's crazy. So right now, for those people who are looking at gold and call us up, and should I sell it because everything's wonderful, everything is moving in the right direction.
Should I sell? Should I sell?
No, absolutely.
I can't imagine, but people would even think that because you're
Crazy.
only got a small percentage of your, cash reserves that you're putting into precious metals, and it's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against problems. That's like saying Donald Trump won the presidency. Should I dump my house insurance and car insurance because nothing bad's going to happen?
Correct.
You wouldn't, because that's what this is. This is an insurance policy against who knows what could happen. World War III, the still 500 banks that are upside, that could collapse because the banks are upside down with derivatives. They've got commercial real estate that they're holding that's being devalued. These banks are still in bad shape. In fact, they may choose to collapse all this on Donald Trump's watch. We don't know. But I find it interesting that anyone would say, well, should I sell my gold now? Again, because that's the equivalent of saying, well, should I cancel all my life insurance, all my health insurance, all my car insurance, all my homeowner's insurance because nothing bad's going to happen. Donald Trump's just been elected president. People don't understand. I like what Wes says. He said to some lady one day, she bought like 6 figures in precious metals. She slid the check over to him in the office. She came in and he picked up the check and he said, let's hope this is your worst performing investment. And she tried to grab the check back and she's like, what? He said, well, this is about 10% of your assets. If this is doing really, really well, the other 90% is in the toilet. So, Wes?
Can't hear him.
Where'd Wes go?
I'm muted. I muted him. So I had to call my wife in here to turn off my lovely wife assistant to turn off the lights in the background.
Oh.
But sorry about that. You did a great job telling that story, Brannon. That's exactly how it went. And what people need to remember is buying physical metal is a buy and hold strategy. It's not speculating, not looking to make money. It's your insurance policy. It's your backup plan. Use traditional investments to make money. Gold and silver is your insurance. And I want to touch on something that Michael brought up when he was talking there about when Trump won election last time. I pulled up some information here. So when Trump won in 2016, gold initially spiked. Uh, Gold in November was $1,337 an ounce back in 2016.
Yeah.
Gold went on a bit of a run, and then 60 days later, it pulled back about 13%. So it went down. But from the start of his presidency until the time he left office, gold was up 42%. So for people thinking that Donald Trump is bad for gold, you are completely wrong. Donald Trump is going to spend a lot of money. Donald Trump could have us heading towards potential trade wars for a while. And many economists think inflation is going to get worse under Donald Trump. We don't know that for sure, but gold and silver should still be a portion of people's portfolio. I just had a gentleman last week, I believe I've talked him out of it, that called and said he wanted to liquidate his precious metals IRA. He's going to transfer and get back into the stock market. And we went into all the things, BRICS and inflation and tariffs, and we talked about all of that. I sent him a bunch of third-party articles and information, and he said, you give me a lot to think about. Let's hold off on doing anything. If I decide I want to move forward, I'll get back with you. And I haven't heard from him, and that was almost a week ago. So people need to keep that in mind. This isn't a speculate and make money. It's your backup plan. So I just want to add that as well.
Indeed. All right, let's go to a clip by, I think, Jerome Powell. No, Jerome Powell. Oh, Reserve.
Yeah, 24-minute mark.
Here we go.
We know that reducing policy restraint too quickly could hinder progress on inflation. At the same time, reducing policy restraint too slowly could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. We're moving policy over time to a more normal setting, but the path for getting there is not preset. In considering additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, we will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. The economy is not sending any signals that we need to be in a hurry to lower rates. The strength we're currently seeing in the economy gives us the ability to approach our decisions carefully. Ultimately, the path of the policy rate will depend on how the incoming data and the economic outlook evolve. We remain resolute in our commitment to the dual mandate given to us by Congress, maximum employment and price stability. Our aim has been to return inflation to our objective without the kind of painful rise in unemployment that has often accompanied past efforts to bring down high inflation. That would be a highly desirable result for the communities, families, and businesses we serve. While the task is not complete, we've made a good deal of progress toward that outcome. Thank you very much, and I look forward to our discussion.
Wow, that guy's about as exciting as going to a funeral. Is that man married? Does anyone know, Wes? Is he married?
I have no idea.
His poor wife. Can you imagine sitting and having a conversation over dinner with that moron? What is he trying to tell us here, Michael? What did he just try to sell to us?
He's a roller coaster. I mean, I'd rather not even listen to him because the guy is just one story to the next. He's the same guy that when inflation went up 20% called it transitory. So how can I respect some buffoon like that who says that we're having transitory inflation while it's going up 20%? And then come back later and say, now we have inflation, but we need to bring it down. I think if anybody's a danger to this country, he is. I'm hoping Trump finds any way possible to get rid of him. He has very little respect in the financial community and for the people who have any sense of common sense in financial services. He's a roller coaster ride. Trump got into office, so now he's turning around and he says, well, I'm not going to lower rates anymore. Who cares what he wants? When Trump gets in, everything will sit back and start having a new level of movement. I don't agree necessarily inflation is going to go up. I agree that the tariffs are going to sit back and cause people to have more costs initially while we bring our businesses back to the United States, which I said in an article earlier this week, a show earlier this week, that I'm totally not a problem with it, moving everything back to this country and paying a little bit more initially. But I think Trump, as he has proven previously, brings down inflation while bringing up assets that are proven, which is gold. So I think gold will proliferate under him. I think under this gentleman and his recent statement right now, watch and see what happens a month from now. I'm sure the whole story will change again. He just is a roller coaster ride. his information is like transitory as just as well as his statements. I'm done.
He actually is married, and married since 1985, has 3 children.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to keep cooking the books until Biden is out of office. You know?
Of course they are.
What data are they going to continue to use? Yeah, they'll keep cooking the books, and then they'll use real numbers once Trump is in office. And like you said, Brannon, they'd probably love to see the economy go into a tailspin.
I think we read an article the other night and talked about the fact that the Trump administration had better be telling the American people now how bad it is and that the books are cooked, and that wait until I get sworn in and how they correct the books and then try to dump all this on my plate. They need to get out in front of this right now in the PR move, because that's exactly what they're going to do. You just watch. The day after he's sworn in, you're going to start hearing within a few weeks all these bad numbers are going to dump on Trump's plate and try to accuse him of it. Right. Let's see here. What else we got? Peter Schiff, the Fed is trying to save itself at your expense. Well, there you go. Over the past few months, in fact, we've repeated again and again that inflation will keep rising, even identified some strange reasons why. Remember back during the early days of the pandemic when used car prices went through the roof, supply chain dysfunction and stay-at-home orders prevented the big auto manufacturers from producing too many new cars. So demand for used cars surged and used car prices shot to the moon. But used car prices eventually started to fall back to earth, and throughout this year, the government inflation reports showed steep drops in used car prices, like 10 to 12% year-over-year declines. We made 2 key points about this. One, the big drop in used cars prices was essentially dragging down the inflation average. Other prices like housing, medical care, et cetera, were still rising by 5% or more. But after averaging in the negative 10% used car price declines, the overall inflation rate seemed to be falling. Number 2, we also said this would be temporary. Used cars could only fall for so long before they reached normal levels. And once that happened, inflation would start to rise again. And this appears to have now happened. In other words, we're almost at the end of the used car deflation benefit that dragged down the government's inflation report. So no coincidence that we also see inflation once again rising from 2.3% in September to now 2.6% in October.
Yeah, and he also says in that article, Brannon, Schiff highlights Fed Chair Jerome Powell's past errors, including his late response to inflation in 2021 and his misjudgments around the stability of the U.S. banking system as reasons to question his leadership, like Michael mentioned earlier. Banks are suffering massive unrealized bond losses due to rate hikes, with losses totaling $500 billion, creating an incentive for them to favor lower rates to recover their bond portfolios. The Fed itself faces nearly $1 trillion in bond losses due to rate hikes, potentially driving its decision to cut rates despite inflation risks in an effort to reduce its financial strain. Schiff concludes that the Fed's current approach prioritizes self-preservation by propping up bond values and reducing its own losses, even if it risks worsening inflation and economic stagnation for the general public. There you have it.
Look at this headline. Doug Casey on Trump's second term, what it means for American investors. He says that if Kamala had won, that'd been it, game over. It feels like morning in America again, but unfortunately, morning only lasts 6 hours. You've got to remember that roughly half the country voted for Kamala, despite her total lack of qualifications and her extreme commitment to socialist statist values. Half the country believes in these things. They're unhappy and not going away. In other words, it ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over yet. Regarding Trump's next 4 years, I hope that he shows better judgment than he did in his first term when he surrounded himself with all kinds of spineless toadies, deep staters, and political hacks. But I'm optimistic. For instance, he's announced that Mike Pompeo and Nikki Haley, horrible people, are out. Better yet, he's put RFK Jr. in a position of power over the FDA. He's tasked Elon Musk with trying to cut federal spending by $2 trillion. They're talking about putting Ron Paul in a position to weigh in on monetary policy. And they've apparently offered Joel Salatin a position in the Department of Agriculture. While Trump doesn't have a philosophical core, flies by the seat of his pants, is not terribly knowledgeable, and demonstrated horrible judgment about people the last time around. This time, he's doing a much better job picking the people who are going to actually make things happen. What scares me the most? There have been 2 assassination attempts, and there might be a third or a fourth before he's inaugurated. he has become a totem for cultural conservatism. And the Jacobians who control the U.S. government, academia, the entertainment industry, the corporate world, and all of the power centers of America don't want to see him in office. They're presently in disarray, but they're capable of any connivery. So there you go. Anything else? The bright side. What's the bright side? Does he have anything for us on the bright side, Wes?
Well, he says, while Trump favors deregulation and tax cut, he is king of debt. His king of debt approach may increase federal deficits and inflation, especially as he supports policies that drive up spending without reducing government costs. But, and there he's talking about, the second go around, I think Trump learned his lesson the first time. I think he's cleaning house. Maybe his staff is already making phone calls to the State Department and different government agencies saying, if we didn't hire you, start packing your stuff because you're out, and getting his own people in there. And I think he's going to be able to move very quickly on his agenda, especially controlling the House and the Senate. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. I want to get a bag of popcorn and just sit back and watch the left lose their minds as they try to turn this country around and make America great again.
Well, he is warning if Trump puts heavy duties on imports, there's an excellent chance that he could destroy the world's economy, which is vastly more dependent on international trade than it was in 1929 when Hoover did that with the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. High tariffs would, in effect, put the U.S. under a self-imposed trade embargo. Michael?
Me? No, contrarians like Doug Casey are just making their living. That's all. Whenever you refer to people like this, that's exactly what they do. They try to take articles and information, and then they take a contrary position, so they sell information. That's how they make a living. That's how Casey does, from the Ruffs and all the rest of them. And
but they sell newsletters, right?
Will sell their newsletters. At the end of the day, his information, as it might be in relationship to Trump, some of it is common knowledge. Most people realize that when Trump first came into office, he was a total naivete.
Someone vacuuming? Is someone vacuuming somewhere, Wes?
Yeah, that's in our office. It happens sometimes.
Really?
We actually clean our building occasionally.
Amazing.
So it does happen. But what I was saying
I thought maybe the blender was going. I thought maybe you guys were already making the mixed drinks.
We're trying to pick up other income while things are slow. Realistically speaking, Trump was naive when he first got into office, had no idea of Washington, thought people were people. He's totally not that person anymore. I think that it's way too soon to talk about things, but we all believe, and we've talked about it, that he's put together a very strong team, totally non-deep state, and I think it's going to be a very interesting phenomenon to watch. But I think the idea that, as we said before, and we said it months ago, first of all, they're going to do everything to leave Donald Trump with a total mess before he takes office. They're going to, like Bill Clinton did back in the 90s, screw up all the computers and do everything they can to make everything bad.
You remember when they took all the W's off the keyboards?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that was hilarious. But I think I think Trump is not stupid. He's going to do what he has to do. It's too soon to tell all of it, but I'm optimistic. But I also realize, again, as Wes is saying, that there's issues at hand that he cannot wave a wand and fix. He can't fix inflation by waving a wand. He can't fix the debt by waving a wand. But he can do things that we're not sitting here and watching the leak continually flowing. Now we're actually trying to stop it. And I think ultimately that will bring us into the right direction. But it's going to take time. Serious. That's it. It's going to take time.
Yep, going to take time. All right, let's see here. What else we got? What else we got, guys? Inflation worries come back to haunt bond strategists after Trump victory. That's according to a Reuters poll. How concerned are you about that, Wes?
About inflation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still very concerned about inflation. I mean, we're not out of the woods, Again, it's a fine balancing act for them to have this soft landing that they keep talking about. And we've talked about in the past, going back several years, they've only managed to pull that off one time, and that was under Alan Greenspan. So Very concerned. And again, the tariff thing is a big unknown. And I think the tariff thing is going to be a big bargaining tool. And they hopefully can work out deals without having to impose those big, heavy tariffs. But we do, we need to take some pain, like Michael said earlier, to get our manufacturing, get pharmaceuticals, get everything back home where the United States does not have to rely on anyone for anything, energy, pharmaceuticals, you name it, because these countries around the world are joining and forming alliances to go head to head against the U.S. And some of them are not our friends. So we need to be self-sufficient. And like Michael said, if that takes a little bit of pain for a while, the country's just going to have to, unfortunately, go through that. But when we come through the tunnel, we'll be in a much better position, much stronger.
Yeah, let's pray that's
Also,
the case.
these tax cuts, as Wes has just mentioned, are actually to our benefit. It goes to the citizens. It's not like what was the Democrats were doing, is spending money like drunken sailors to proliferate their crazy programs. They're actually giving the common folk a tax break and putting money in our pocket that initially can be assumed as a tax benefit, inflationary, but we're benefiting from it. The citizens are actually benefiting. So we might be losing on one end, but we're gaining on our pocketbook. It's a process. Whereas previously, they built a park for Nancy Pelosi for $10 million. Instead, they're trying to put the money in the citizens' pockets. And I think that's a good thing.
Let's promote the free packet. Free, no obligation, free packet of information, 602-558-8585, 602-558-8585. Just text Wes your name and your address. He'll send the free packet, no obligation, free packet. You can learn about numismatic, that's 1933 and older, that comes with privacy. You can learn about bullion, like gold eagles, silver eagles that are, just a few years old. You can find out about putting gold into your IRA, the trust company they use, and how it goes over to a depository in Delaware. It's there, it sits there, it's counted and identified as your gold. And then if you want to take it at some point, if there's a tax situation, then you can, what was that? Is it dinner time?
No, my stand fell down from my computer. That's okay.
Is your computer all right?
Yeah, my stand is.
Why are you throwing stuff around, Mike?
Well, what can I tell you? I need a dog.
I have one right here, but people might complain. Or a couple might complain if you showed on television.
Okay, thank you.
For that reason, I should just show the dog again. There you go. Dolly, you want a treat? Come on over here. Anyway, get the free packet of information, 602-558-8585, 602-558-8585. You can find out about putting gold in your retirement account, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, it's all about education.
It is. It's all about education. What are you guys doing this weekend?
My wife is Christmas stuff. I think we're putting up Christmas stuff.
You're putting up Christmas stuff. You already have Christmas stuff up.
Oh, yeah. She's like, "Hey, Brannon, you should walk around the house and show everybody all of our Christmas trees and everything."
I think that's a very good idea, actually.
No. She'll give a tour. She'll give a live tour.
Well, I think we should do that. I think that would be a very good idea.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Sorry I said anything.
What? Oh, no, you shouldn't be sorry. We'll have to call your wife up and get that arranged. What about you, Wes or Michael? What are you doing?
I can't do that yet because my house is still finished being built. My better half is a huge Christmas person, and I mean huge. So we have all kinds of stuff that'll be around.
What does that mean? What does that mean? You have like nutcrackers hanging on the front door, the life-size real nutcrackers, the soldiers. What do you got?
The cats are decorated. Every part of the house is decorated. Wherever there's decoration, it's decorated.
Your wife decorates the cats for Christmas?
Yeah, they get the little stuff. That's it. They get little Christmas things around.
You're sure to make sure they don't chew on the lights, so they look like the cat in Christmas Vacation, right?
Yeah, gold coins. On the gold coins, they use those.
Wes, you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Wes?
I do.
Get the free packet of information, folks, from Wes Petes. Take care.